Saxon Algebra 1/2, lesson 119. Caleb, we're almost done. We have this lesson and the next lesson, and I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't get very excited about lesson 120. We're going to come back to it next year. It's nothing earth-shaking. That is not going to be on the final. 119 is our last lesson that I really want you to sink your teeth into. So I'm very excited to be here. Lesson 118, I believe. No, 18 was Pythagorean theorem. No, I flipped too many pages at once. Lesson 118 was about volume conversions of English units. And we learned that when it's a three-dimensional object, we have to convert each dimension. And so we use our unit multipliers 3 times. And we did that with English unit, with inches, miles, feet, yards, etc. And this lesson is going to be about metric volume conversion. So how do we convert volume when we're in the metric system? Okay, the metric system has kind of a cool feature. In the English system, there's no way to I'm trying to think of how to describe this in the simplest way. This is a cubic centimeter. Okay? Centimeter is a measure of length. Imagine that we have this little perfect 1 centimeter cube. You can imagine it as like an ice cube tray. Just a tiny little individual ice cube tray that is 1 centimeter on each side. The amount of water that we're gonna pour in here, look, I'll be sciencey and call it H2O, that's water. The amount of water that we can pour in here is 1/1000th of a liter or 1 milliliter. The metric system comes with this connection, this relationship between linear units and what I call liquid units, but we call them volume technically, but they measure liquids, where they relate to each other. So 1 cubic centimeter equals 1 milliliter. We can relate units of lengths to units of volume. Notice that we don't have to, no, I don't want to say that. I'll say that later. And then that equals 1/1000th of a liter. I better write that out because it looks like a 1. Okay? And remember that 1 liter equals, 2 liters equals one of those big soda jugs. I call them soda jugs. They're like the big bottles of pop, like that you get for parties or whatever, right? So that helps you visualize it, all right? So this cool fact that a cubic centimeter equals a milliliter is something that we can use to connect units of length to units of volume. The English system doesn't have anything like this. We can't do it the same way. So we're going to look and see how that works. And the good news is that it's kind of easier than the English units are a little bit harder. We want to convert 1 million, oh my gosh, such a big number, 451,600 milliliters, and I guess technically it should be an uppercase L, milliliters, little things, 2 liters. Okay? These are measures of volume, so we don't have to do it 3 times, okay? That seems really weird, but it's true. This is over 1. So what links milliliters to liters? Oh, here it is right here. We can write it as there's 1 milliliter. But look, I don't want to do that, do you? That's too confusing. So instead, we're going to say, okay, let's multiply both of these by 1,000. 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. Oh, okay, that looks much better. It's the same truth as this, but doesn't that look much more friendly on your brain? And then we can write it the other way too, right? 1 liter for every 1,000 milliliters. Okay, so these are the two unit multipliers we have to choose from. We only have to use it once because it's built, it's a measure of volume, so it's got all 3 dimensions built into it. Okay, we want to use the multiplier that has our starting unit on the top. This, I usually put a divided line like that through there because we're only going to use one or the other. We want milliliter, we start with milliliters on the top, so we want this one because it's got milliliters on the bottom. So 1 liter for every 1,000 milliliters. And now we multiply that through, it's going to be 1,451,600 divided by, that's on the top, and then on the bottom is 1,000. Oh, I forgot to cancel my units. We're left with liters, that's what we want. Now, because the metric system is so cool, we're dividing by 1,000. We can do that easily just by jumping the decimal. Remember that if we're dividing by 1,000, then we make the number smaller by 3 jumps, as many jumps as there are zeros. So 1, 2, 3. So our answer is 1,451.6 liters is our adjusted number. Yay, that's right. Okay, so this is important that we took this relationship and we bumped it up a little bit, right? So we multiplied it by 1,000. So I'm going to just write that over here. 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. Okay, so all of this business should go into the cover of your notebook and into your brain. This is just to help you remember. It's one of those soda jugs. And this is just to help you visualize what's going on. But these are the actual formulas. Remember that these 2 formulas are the same. It's just, whoops, that got messy. It's just that I don't want to work with this because when I'm making unit multipliers, I don't want to have a fraction in my unit multiplier. That's just gross. Okay, that was the first example. There are 2 more. Ready? Example 119.2. Convert 40 cubic meters. Okay, so now we're talking, like we do in English units, about 3 dimensions of a unit of length, right? This isn't a volume measure. A meter is a measure of length. So we're talking about cubic meters. The problem says that. So I'm going to write out the 3 M's, and we want to convert it to cubic centimeters. Okay, so do we know of a measure, a multiplier rather, a ratio that connects meters to centimeters? Yes, centimeters, we remember cent, so we say that for every 1 meter, we have 100 centimeters, and then the other way we can write that is like so, right? So there are our 2 unit multipliers, our choices. We'll use one or the other. This is over 1. Now we're going to need to use this one 3 times. I usually draw this as one big connected box, but I didn't do that this time. Sorry. And I'm also kind of squished, right? Because my fractions are getting smaller. But that's okay. Okay, so we start with meters. We want meters on the bottom. So 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, and then okay, so I chose this one. All right, now my meters all cancel, boom, 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 and then here's my centimeters just the way I want them. Okay, so now all I have to do is just put all of those these numbers together. John gives us a break. He says, let's just show the answer as 40 times 100 times 100 times 100 centimeters cubed. I would also show it like this. And I would also say this is one where it's pretty easy to multiply it out. It would be 40 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all of these are good ways to show the answer. All right? Cool. Well, one more. Convert 140. Okay, this one's going to get fancy. 1,400 cubic meters. So as soon as I hear cubic, I know I have to write it 3 times. And we want to convert it to liters. Okay, this is a little head trippy because what we're doing is we're starting with a measure of length that we have to use in 3 dimensions, and we're changing it to a measure of volume. Oh, how are we going to switch from cubic units of length, like this, or like those, back into a measure of volume, which is what liters are? Shoot. Well, we have a tool. We have a surprise weapon. I'm going to write it up here. 1 cubic centimeter equals 1 milliliter. Aha. What that means is that this is where we make the switch. This is the portal. The other thing that we can do is if we want to have this in liters, we can multiply it by 1,000, right? So 1,000 centimeters cubed equals 1 liter, right? I just multiplied this by 1,000 because 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. So I made my formula bigger so I won't have to do extra steps, but it would be fine. So let's just see how we're going to do this. First, we need to get this, we need to go from meters to centimeters. And we're going to have to do that 3 times. Right? I'm going to show you a little bit of a shortcutty presentation on this. We know we're going to want meters in the bottom. I'm making my boxes small. That's that fraction. Centimeters then will be in the top. Centimeters are bigger, so they get the 1, and then this is 100. So small I'm writing. Right? So now these meters have all canceled, and I've got 3 centimeters. Okay? Now I'm going to use this top one. I'm not going to confuse us with the other one. Now I'm going to multiply it to go from centimeters to milliliters, right? So, and it's from centimeters cubed. So I only need to use this one once. That's super confusing. These are centimeters in the top. So I can say 1 centimeter cubed equals 1 milliliter. This 1, 2, 3 cancels all 3 of them. And now we're in milliliters. Ah, okay. And so now I'm going to use this one more time. I'm going to want milliliters down here and liters up here because that's what I want to end with. These will cancel. Now let's see, there's 1,000 milliliters in a single liter. So now we're at liters, and that's where we want to be. That's our answer. So now all we have to do, we've canceled all our units. We've used all the multipliers we need. Now we're going to collect all our numbers. 1,400 times 100 cubed divided by 1,000. Liters is our final answer. All right. If we wanted, we could blow this out a little bit. And we know that if we're squaring 100, that means we're going to have 6 zeros, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for each of the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. divided by 1,000. So I'm gonna chop off 3 of those zeros to simplify. See how I'm simplifying this? And then our final answer would be 1400, and then 3 more zeros, 0, 0, 0. So that is 1,400,000 liters. Either of these would be perfectly fine answers. This is kind of the work in progress, so either of those is fine. We will work more on this next year, but this is the all-important piece of information that allows us in metrics to link cubic measures of length to measures of volume. Super useful, cool little tool. Okay, we're done with lesson 119. And you know, for all practical purposes, Caleb, that's the last thing I want to shove in your brain for this year. You are ready for Algebra 1, but I will see you for lesson 120. Thanks, bye.